So whenever somebody talks about visiting Mexico and it's their first time and they're not native to the country, it's often met with Mexico is too dangerous and the cartel will hunt you out in order to cut your head off, and that you should never come here if you don't speak the language fluently. Well, you know what? You're absolutely right. This is the most dangerous place on planet Earth, and you should never come here ever, even if it's for a vacation. That is, as long as you keep that mentality. So here's the deal. So Mexico can be a lot to take in if it's your first time here and you are coming from a first world developed country with a credit bureau and everything that you touch, everything that you see looks all shiny and new and perfect. I get it. However, just because something looks older and maybe, let's be honest, sometimes maybe not as clean, you can't just assume that everybody here is evil or bad or corrupt and desperate and that they absolutely need to do something to you, harm to you, kill you, and take your money in order to be happy and satisfied in their own personal life. Gracias. Hasta luego. So, the thing about Mexico is that it's a beautiful place, yes. Are there some bad sides to it? Yes. Right now I'm currently in Playa del Carmen. And I know some people out there are instantly going to say, oh, that's not the real side of Mexico, because I'm not in Tijuana or some other far off land over here in Mexico that some people, well, we all know that can be dangerous places, all right? But using that same logic, you could say that, well, the south side of Chicago, if you haven't been there, you haven't really been to Chicago. You haven't been to the Bronx, New York, you haven't really been to New York. You get my point here. At the end of the day, I'm still in Mexico, and when it comes to the question of if Mexico is dangerous, technically, yes. What I mean by that is that Mexico is a dangerous place. However, there are dangerous parts of anywhere that you go, virtually any city that you go to, tourist or not, foreign or not. And if you want me to be real honest with you, the United States, where I live in Florida, is arguably, aside from war-torn countries, one of the most dangerous places in the world. When you look at all the guns, which I have no problem with in America because unfortunately we live in a system now in the United States society where everybody has guns, whether they are good or bad people. So now you have no choice but to take up arms. We got road rage all over the place. I once got into an accident last year where there was a bunch of girls partying. They caused the accident and then they got out of the car and decided to assault me for no reason. You don't see that stuff in other parts of the world. You also don't have, for the most part, people here that are so stressed out with trying to keep up with the Joneses that they are willing to do literally anything to get it. And as far as the overall lifestyle, the quality of life in the United States, there's always a standard that people are held to which, again, they become desperate, they become stressed out, they become just mentally not all there because people are told to live a certain way over in places like the United States. Now, I also want to make it very clear, I'm generalizing when I'm talking about the United States. I love the US. You can go make as much money as you want there as long as you have the right connections and maybe you are fortunate enough to come up in a family where they have a little bit of fun and they can teach you right from wrong. Now, I come to Mexico all the time. In fact, it's my 8th time here this year. I've been to Mexico City, I've been to Playa del Carmen, I've been to Valladolid. Primarily, if I'm being honest, for the most part, I've been over in the Yucatan and Quintana Roo area, which a lot of people say is tourist area. I agree, but not 100% of it obviously can be tourist area. But that doesn't mean it's 100% safe. There are things that you have to do whenever you travel to foreign countries. One of which I believe is the most important, is have some common sense. For example, and this not only applies to Mexico, but any other foreign country that you visit, especially if you're an American, and I've been to 62 countries so far in my life. I'm thankful to say that at 29 years old. But if you're going to a place you've never been to before, don't wear a bunch of jewelry. That's rule one. You don't want people looking at you. Don't try to be flashy. Don't be loud, making a bunch of noise. Understand the landscape that you're in. If you're in a country that's relatively quiet, like let's say someplace like Asia, then you have to follow their system, okay? If you are running around trying to buy drugs, if you don't know anybody in that area, don't buy drugs. And especially don't buy a large amount of it. right? If you're gonna party, I get it. People want their drugs and whatever, their own vacation, Cancun 2022, or my bad, everybody's in Tulum now, right? But if you don't know the people that you are associating with and getting the drugs from, or you're trying to buy a lot of it for a crazy weekend, who knows? The cartel is around, yes. Maybe they will assume that you are trying to open up an operation. So when you see these attacks that are happening, most of the time, you could say, yes, they're unprovoked, but it's people making dumb decisions where they just simply are not thinking. This one is subjective, but maybe don't look so much like a tourist. Now, I will admit, when it comes to all those things, except for the drugs, of course, I'm breaking those rules right now. I got my tourist hat on, my little tropical shirt, my watch, I got a chain on. Why am I doing this? Because, well, I've been to Playa del Carmen a million times. But I'm just saying, even in tourist areas, because I know this area is safe because I have friends that live here, I come here all the time. If I'm going to an area that I haven't been to, even here in Playa del Carmen, I won't be dressing like this. I'm just saying, again, you have to be smarter, right? Have some street smarts a little bit in order to travel, especially if you're traveling extensively, and have common sense overall. Now, I'm a small African-American black man that doesn't speak the language. I'm 5'6", and as far as Spanish goes, I can say I've been here enough to learn enough to get around. I know how to ask for help. I know how to ask for the check. I know how to ask where's the party. But my point is, I have common sense, and I understand to look out for certain signs and not act like a crazy person when I get here. Because when you come to Mexico, some things are gonna, I don't know, distract you, make you feel some kind of way. The police here, they ride around with their lights on, and you'll see a lot of Marines or the local military running around here with machine guns, AK-47, stuff like that. It's normal here. Just like it's normal, even if you go to France, you'll see military police walking around with semi-automatic rifles. It's one of those things that, especially if you're coming from America, and I know I'm picking on Americans, I don't hate America. I want to make that very clear, I love it. But most Americans do not travel unless they're going to someplace that's a little bit more upscale. They're probably doing it big, but isn't that right? A lot of people don't have money like that, so they don't travel like that. But my point is, there's a lot of things that you have to get accustomed to quickly whenever you come to these places. That way they don't freak you out, and you can enjoy yourself here without being paranoid thinking that somebody's trying to get you. I could ramble on about this topic literally all day long, and I don't want to make this too serious or anything like that. This is just something that I hear all the time, that Mexico's poor and that everybody's out to get you. My dentist is in Cancun. He's French, but anytime I tell people I'm going to get some dental work done, they freak out. Oh, Mexican dentist. The United States is not the standard, the gold standard of the world. People still here have a very great life. In fact, there are people that move from first world countries over here because of the freedom and flexibility and non-stressful environment that you have. Anyway, I have a flight to Spain in about 6 hours. If you guys have any questions about Mexico, you've never been here, let me know in the comment section below. I do come here a lot. I'll be in Europe for the next 2 months, going to Eastern Europe. Again, another dangerous place. People think they're gonna get taken. I'll be putting out more videos like this as well as other fun stuff. I know this video is pretty serious. However, I'll be doing like some crazy Airbnb reviews, going to some other foreign places that you probably never heard of. Or maybe you have, you just haven't been there before. So just subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys later. Take it easy.